Welcome to the Soul Hypno Vibe podcast. Hey everyone, I'm Jocelyn and I'm so excited to welcome you to the Soul Hypno Vibe podcast. We're here to explore the power of meditation, manifestation, and so much more. We're bringing you fresh, up-to-date insights on everything from mindfulness practices to personal growth and living your best life. But here's the best part. Each week, we're bringing in a range of amazing hosts and special guests who are experts in various areas of meditation, manifestation, and personal development. Every episode is packed with new perspectives, inspiration, and ideas to help you make real changes in your life. If you're loving what we're talking about and want to be part of the Soul Hypno Vibe community, don't forget to join us by subscribing to our podcast. And if you'd like to show some extra love, you can always buy us a coffee to help keep the good vibes flowing. Just follow the donation link in the description below. So, grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's conversation. We can't wait to have you on this journey with us.
All right, ready to dive deep. Today, it's the mirror technique. Sounds kind of mystical, right?
Well, it was popularized by a newspaperman, Claude M. Bristol. He was fascinated by the power of the subconscious.
And our listeners are really into self-improvement, so this seems right up their alley. I mean, boosting confidence, achieving goals, who wouldn't want that?
Right. And the story that really launched this technique is pretty wild. Bristol saw it in action at a dinner party. The host, let's just say he'd overindulged a bit before.
Hold on, you're saying this guy was like tipsy, and he used a mirror to sober up.
Yeah. Apparently, he stood up straight, took some deep breaths, looked right into his own eyes, and just kept saying, "You're sober, cold sober."
Wow, that's kind of freaky, but it worked.
It did. It's like he bypassed his conscious mind, the part that was probably a bit clouded, and tapped straight into his subconscious.
So he kind of tricked himself into sobriety. That's fascinating. So if it works for something like that, what else can it do?
Well, according to Bristol, a whole lot. The video we're looking at today claims it can boost confidence, give you a more commanding presence, and even help you reach your goals.
Sounds almost too good to be true. Like a magic fix.
Right, it's not that simple. The video stresses that it's a tool for self-development. You need to have a plan. Be specific about what you want.
So it's about aligning your inner self with your outer goals.
Exactly. And, some pretty famous people use this technique. Winston Churchill, Woodrow Wilson. They'd stand in front of a mirror before big speeches, using affirmations to prepare.
Wow, picturing them doing that, it's like they're psyching themselves up almost like athletes before a big game.
And think about someone like Billy Sunday, the evangelist, known for his intense gaze, almost hypnotic. The video suggests he used the mirror to cultivate that.
Interesting. So it's not just about specific goals, but maybe shaping your whole persona, which makes sense, right? We say the eyes are the windows to the soul.
And there's that Emerson quote. Every man carries in his eyes the exact indication of his rank.
Powerful stuff. So if this technique can change how our eyes look, could it actually change who we are on the inside?
Now that's a question worth exploring. But let's break down the technique itself first. It seems almost too simple. Stand tall, breathe deeply, gaze into your eyes, and say your desires out loud. What's the science behind it?
Yeah, like, is it just positive thinking, or is there something more going on?
Well, there's a lot of research on the power of the subconscious. This technique seems to tap into that, combining visualization, self-suggestion.
So it's not just about thinking it, it's about seeing it, feeling it, almost embodying those desires.
Exactly. And that direct eye contact adds this layer of self-awareness, like you're really holding yourself accountable.
It's like a supercharged pep talk, but with yourself in the mirror.
And by repeating those affirmations, you're essentially feeding your subconscious positive messages, like reprogramming old negative patterns.
Okay, so it's about consistency, having a clear vision. But this makes me wonder, could this be used for, less than noble goals? Could someone use this penetrating gaze to manipulate others?
That's an important point. Like any tool, it comes down to intention.
So it's not about mastering some Jedi mind trick.
Right. It's about using this for positive self-development.
So we've covered the basics, the history, the anecdotes, the psychology, even some ethical considerations. But how do we actually use this mirror technique to make real changes in our lives? That's what I'm really curious about.
Well, that's where things get even more interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll be diving into next.
Perfect. Can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. So we've laid the groundwork. But now I really want to get into the nitty-gritty of how this mirror technique actually works. What's going on in our brains when we do this?
Well, it's about harnessing the power of the subconscious. And there are a few key psychological principles at play.
Okay, break it down for me. Like, what's actually happening?
Well, one big one is visualization. When you really picture yourself achieving something, your brain starts creating neural pathways as if it's actually happening.
So it's not just, like, wishful thinking. There's real science behind it.
Absolutely. It's like priming your subconscious for success. The more you visualize, the more you're preparing your mind to act in ways that support that vision.
That's pretty cool. But is there more to it than just, daydreaming about achieving our goals?
Right. And that's where the power of self-suggestion comes in. When you repeat those affirmations, you're feeding your subconscious all these positive messages.
So it's like replacing those old negative thoughts with new positive ones, kind of like rewiring your brain.
Exactly. And the mirror itself.
Yeah.
It's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about embodying them. Your posture, your gaze, everything.
Ah, I get it. So it's more than just saying the words. It's about, like, making a statement, a commitment to yourself right there in the mirror.
You got it. And looking into your own eyes as this level of accountability. You're not hiding from yourself.
It makes you take it seriously. It reminds me of that Emerson quote, how our eyes reflect our rank, our inner state. So if we can change our eyes, maybe we can change ourselves.
It's an interesting idea, right?
Mm.
The eyes really are powerful. I mean, we're always told how important body language is, but the eyes are even more direct.
They show how we're really feeling. So if we work on our inner selves with this technique, could that change how we interact with the world?
Yeah. You project confidence, others respond to that, and it reinforces your own belief. It can create this upward spiral of positive change.
But it's not about, like, faking it, right? It's about cultivating real inner strength.
Exactly. It's about aligning your internal world with your external goals. And that's where that penetrating gaze the video talked about comes in.
Yeah, that part always kind of threw me off.
It's not about staring people down or
Yeah.
trying to, be intimidating. It's really about developing a deeper sense of presence and awareness.
So it's like instead of being in our own heads, we're really focused on the moment and the people around us.
Right. You're present, you're confident, and that naturally shows in your eyes. Think about how powerful that can be in, say, a job interview.
Yeah, it's like you're saying, I see you, I'm here, and I'm ready. Pretty compelling.
It is. And it all goes back to that inner work. The more you build that confidence through techniques like this, the more it shows outwardly.
This is really starting to click for me. It's not about forcing anything, but about, like, aligning who we are on the inside with what we project on the outside.
You nailed it. It's a journey of self-discovery. And that's what makes it so powerful.
I'm so glad we're talking about this. I was skeptical at first, the whole talking to yourself in the mirror thing, but it makes a lot more sense now.
I get it. But it's not about vanity. It's about self-awareness.
Yeah.
About really looking at yourself and asking, what do I want to change? What am I capable of?
Okay, so this has been super insightful, but I bet our listeners are itching for some real-world examples. How can we use this mirror technique to, like, actually achieve our goals?
Great question. And that's exactly what we'll be getting into in the next part of our deep dive.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. All right, so we've talked about what the mirror technique is, why it works. Now let's get to the how. How can we actually use this to, make changes in our lives?
Well, that's the fun part, right? This technique is really adaptable. You can use it for all sorts of goals, all kinds of challenges.
So it's not just for, like, politicians giving speeches or something?
No, not at all. Think about public speaking, for example. Lots of people get nervous about that. Imagine standing in front of the mirror, taking those deep breaths.
Okay, got the visual. What's next?
You look right into your own eyes and you say something like, I am a confident and engaging speaker. My words flow effortlessly and people love to hear me speak.
Wow, even just hearing you say that, I feel a little boost. But how does that translate to, like, the real deal when I'm actually up on stage?
By practicing this regularly, visualizing yourself succeeding, you're training your subconscious to connect public speaking with positive feelings.
So it's like breaking those old anxious habits and creating new ones.
Exactly. It could work for anything, really. Relationships, career goals, whatever you want to change.
Okay, so let's say, like, relationships. We talked about that penetrating gaze before. How can I use that to, like, connect better with my partner?
Well, imagine you're having communication issues. Before you even talk to them, try this. Stand in front of the mirror and really try to see things from their perspective.
Like actually put myself in their shoes.
Yeah, feel what they might be feeling. And while you're doing that, affirm your desire to really listen to them, to understand them, and to communicate clearly and kindly.
Huh. It's almost like rehearsing for a tough conversation, but not just the words, the emotions too.
That's a great way to think about it. And remember, the eyes are key. Practice looking at yourself with warmth, with empathy. Hold that gaze. It might feel weird at first, but the more you do it,
It'll become more natural. It's
Right.
amazing how much power our eyes have.
It's true. They really do reflect what's going on inside. And by working on our inner selves, we can change what we project outward.
At the beginning of this deep dive, I was a little unsure about all this. The whole mirror thing seemed, well, a bit strange. But the more we talk about it, the more it makes sense.
It's not about being vain. It's about really looking at yourself honestly and saying, okay, how can I grow? What can I change?
Yeah, and realizing that you have the power to do that. So, as we wrap up, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I'd say it's this. You really can change. It's not about magic or overnight fixes. It's about putting in the work, being clear about what you want, and stepping outside your comfort zone. This mirror technique, it's just a tool to help you tap into that power within yourself.
And to start, you just got to look in the mirror, not to judge yourself, but to really see yourself, your potential. What are your strengths? What do you dream of? The answers are there, waiting to be discovered.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a journey of self-discovery, and it's one worth taking.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the mirror technique. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep believing in yourselves.